Hello everyone and welcome. This is Christine with Pattercrafts, and today we'll be making a fairly quick Christmas card with a stamp set here from MFT Stamps called Secret Santa. This is a great little stamp set for the holidays. It has some great sentiments on here. You've got the little boy and girl waking up on Christmas morning, some presents. I'll be using this Santa peeking behind the tree today. I already have this image colored. It's been sitting in this little box that I have of colored images for quite a while, so I thought, why not use what I already have and make a quick Christmas card today. I will also be using this 6x6 paper pad from MFT Stamps. It's called Candyland, and I already chose my 2 pieces of pattern paper. So the first thing I am going to do, because even though I have the Santa all set, I wanted to put the presents underneath the tree, so I am going to stamp out the 4 gifts that come in the stamp set. There's like 3 traditional boxy looking presents and 1 that's kind of like a sack with a bow. So I'm stamping out all 4 of those with the MFT, or My Favorite Things, Extreme Black Ink. This is a Copic friendly ink, and I like to use it when I'm Copic coloring because it doesn't really smudge. I kind of flip-flop between this one and the Gina K's Black Amalgam ink. So for these gifts, I'm pretty much just sticking to greens and reds. They obviously are going to match my tree and the papers that I chose. The green for this first gift, I'm using G24 and G28. And bringing in some reds for the bow, and I'm using R35, and then I will bring in the R59. Just kind of laying down my lightest color, then putting in some little shadows with the darkest color, and then bringing that lighter color back in and trying to blend the 2 together. I'm just sticking to 2 colors basically per area. I'm not getting too fancy. These images are pretty small. For this present here, I'm using the YG13 and the YG17, and for my reds, I'm using the R29 and the R59 again. Not being too careful about how I'm coloring because I am going to just fussy cut these images out. So that's always half the battle, especially with reds. I find my reds bleed. So for this present here, just bringing in a couple of YG markers again. I'm using YG06 and YG09. Now for this bow on this package, I decided let's shake it up a little and we're going to make it a white bow. To do that, I'm using C3, C1, and then I'm bringing in my colorless blender because C1 is my lightest cool gray, and this blender pen really works really nicely to kind of blend those together, but take away just a little bit of color to give it a more look of being white. So for my sack, I am using E21 and E33. I don't know, in my head, this was kind of like a burlap sack with a nice present inside. And for the reds, I'm using the R29 and R35. So once those are all set, I'm going to grab my scissors that I use for fussy cutting. And these images were not too hard to fussy cut. For as much as I really dislike it, I find I've been doing it a lot lately. Kind of the key to fussy cutting is you always want to make sure your scissors are really, really sharp. I move the paper and not the scissors when I am cutting like around like the bows and the gifts. I'm not really moving my scissors too much. These are my little cutter bee scissors. They are my favorite for fussy cutting, and I pretty much only use them for fussy cutting. If I use them for anything else, it's a mistake because I just don't want them to dull at all. So I'm just trying to make sure I only use them for fussy cutting. To give these images a finished look, I just used the black Copic marker, the 100, and outlined the edge where I cut. It just makes it look a little bit nicer. So trimming down my pattern paper, I cut them down and then brought them over to my Cuttlebug where I used a stitched rectangle die to cut out both patterns. I also used a mini scallop oval die. I thought that's where I would put Santa. It doesn't end up like that, but that is how it starts. That's why you see that in the video here. So I'm laying down my red and white stripe for my main panel, adding this fun green with the sentiments all across the top. I cut it at an angle because I'm following this card sketch that I just thought was really fun. So for my sentiment, I'm using Have a Magical Christmas. Die cut that with a stitched like fishtail banner die. I'm going to put that directly on the card. Then I'm adding my Santa directly onto my card. Also, 2 of these presents are just going directly on, but I am popping up 2 of these gifts with some foam tape because we always have to have a little dimension in our projects, or at least I do. So once I'm done this, I'm starting to learn before I do the, finishing touches on the outside. I want to finish my inside. Sometimes I get a little crazy and start adding Nuvo drops, and then I'm like, oh, I didn't finish the inside. And I either have to wait till it dries, or I have a tendency to not want to wait and then try to pretend to be careful. Anyway, I just added the 2 little kids inside with some Memento London Fog ink. Just kind of dresses it up a little bit. And then my finishing touches, I'm just adding some Wink of Stella and these clear Nuvo drops. I don't happen to know the exact name. I think it's Morning Dew, but they're just clear, and they're going to dry clear, and they're just going to add a little bit of shine to these ornaments and make it look really, really pretty. But thank you so very much for joining me today. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you'd like to see more and you're not already, please hit that subscribe button. But until next time, bye.